Welcome to Philosophy Talk, the program that questions everything.
Except your intelligence. I'm John Perry.
And I'm Ken Taylor. We're here at the studios of KALW San Francisco.
Continuing conversations that begin at Philosopher's Corner at Stanford, where Ken teaches philosophy, and I did for 40 wonderful years.
Yeah, John, we all remember those years fondly. Today, we're thinking about the power and peril of satire.
Satire, Ken, uses humor to ridicule and shame and embarrass people, and, importantly, institutions. It can be a potent tool for exposing society's ills.
Yeah, John, I totally agree with you, especially when it comes to politicians and other powerful people. Satire is the perfect way to take them down a peg or two.
Well, I'm all for satirizing the rich and powerful, and even the moderately rich and moderately powerful. What does bother me is when people use satire to attack the poor and vulnerable and downtrodden.
Well, I see your point, John, but should we really call it satire if it's actually used if it's aimed at the poor and the downtrodden? Isn't that just mean-spirited hate speech or something?
Well, I don't know how we should use the word, but the way people do use the word and the way people self-consciously think of themselves when they do a lot of this hate speech is as satire. A lot of satire, or what passes for satire, is mean-spirited and hateful. Take, for example, those anti-Muslim cartoons in the French satirical rag Charlie Hebdo.
Oh, you mean the ones that got those poor cartoonists killed?
Yeah, I mean, truly mean-spirited, nasty stuff. But satire, everybody calls it.
Yeah, but I'm sure you agree. I don't care how vicious the cartoons were. Surely nobody deserves to die over a few cartoons, John, right?
Yes, Ken, I actually do agree with you that we shouldn't go around murdering people for drawing cartoons. But I still think Charlie Hebdo, although they didn't deserve what they got, still, they went too far. Have you actually seen their cartoons?
Oh, I have. I took a good look at a whole bunch of them. They never hold back, John. It's no holds barred. They target everybody with the same level of viciousness. It's not just Muslims. It's Catholics and it's Jews too. They've been doing this forever, and they've been banned in France because of it at times. They even had one cartoon of Pope Francis wearing a skimpy Mardi Gras bikini, dancing on the streets of Rio. I'm sure the Pope didn't like it, but if religion isn't fair game for satire, I don't know what is.
Well, there's a big difference between ridiculing the Pope in a country that's traditionally Catholic and ridiculing Muhammad when Muslims are clearly in France an oppressed minority.
But you're not saying that we can only ridicule the dominant religion of a country, are you? I mean, why think that?
No, but I do think that when you, just as you said, when you ridicule oppressed groups, and the Muslims in minority in France is such a group, maybe it shouldn't be called satire. It really is, according to you, hate speech.
No, that wasn't my point. It's only hate speech if it's directed at the powerless. And Islam is not powerless. It's a pretty potent force in the world. It's the state religion in many countries. Islamic extremists are wreaking havoc all over the place. Moderate Muslims in France and elsewhere probably took offense at Charlie Hebdo. But you know what they need to do? They need to grow a thicker skin. That's what they need to do.
Well, even America, we recognize that sometimes freedom of expression has to be limited. You're not free to threaten people, incite violence, defame character. There's other examples where we justifiably impose limits on what people can say.
Yeah, I grant you that, but in all those kind of examples, the reason we limit freedom of expression is because the speech in question could bring about serious harm to people. And, I agree, your right to not be harmed by others trumps their right to say whatever they want.
Exactly.
No, not exactly. What's the harm in a little satire?
Well, I'm not talking about mere offense and discomfort. I'm talking about real harm. When satire targets society's marginalized, all it does is confirm people's prejudices about the group in question, and that leads to further harms, discrimination in jobs or housing, or often violence.
Gosh, John, you think a few cartoons can do all that? I think you're seriously overestimating the actual power of satire.
Well, in preparation for this program, I reviewed a lot of the cartoons of African Americans and American Indians in the 19th century, continuing the 20th century. I think you're seriously underestimating the peril of satire directed at minorities who are in danger.
Look, I'm going to grant you that where politics and satire meet, things actually can get very heated. And so we sent our roving philosophical reporter, Shukran Kalantari, to talk to political satirists about how they themselves draw the line between comedy and hate speech. She files this report.